What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my review of the Samsung Galaxy A33 5G. So let's get started. Now, this device was recently launched by Samsung in April of 2022, and it is the successor to last year's Galaxy A32 5G. Now, this phone definitely builds upon what was great about that device, and in addition to that, this phone is very similar to the recently launched A53 5G. Now, if you want to learn more about the differences and similarities of those two devices, I have done a full comparison on this channel already, so definitely make sure to check out that video. Now, the Galaxy A33 5G is sold in a variety of different regions all around the world, so definitely take a look at the various links in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing and availability, as I'm sure that is bound to change as time goes on. Now, with this device, we're getting a very large 6.4-inch display. The display itself features Corning Gorilla Glass 5, so that does make it very durable, which is great. The display also features Super AMOLED technology, so we're getting excellent colors here and also very good viewing angles. The display itself features 90 Hz as the refresh rate, so we are getting a more smoother, more premium experience when using the phone, which is always a nice touch to have. And in addition to that, we are getting 1080p here. We also have a PPI of 411, a 20:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor, and an 83.7% screen-to-body ratio. Now, with the display being 1080p, things do look really good as well, so combining that with Super AMOLED and also 90 Hz really does give us a great viewing experience. So if you're going to use this phone for watching video content or going on social media, or really anything where having an excellent display comes in handy, then you're definitely going to really like the A33 5G. Now, unfortunately, we do have a slightly thicker bottom bezel, and then up top here, we do have a water drop notch. Those are two things that I wish we didn't have here with this device, but despite that, I still am a big fan of the form factor that we're getting here, and this is certainly a very practically minded device. Now, the front-facing camera on the phone is 13 megapixels, and stay tuned for later on in the video, as I'll be showing you a variety of different photo and video samples from this phone. Now, internally with the device, we have two different options for storage, so you can get the phone with either 128 or 256 gigabytes. And in addition to that, this phone also supports microSD card expansion, so it is nice that you could potentially offload photos and videos, for example, if you do happen to fill up the internal storage on the phone. Now, there is no wireless charging with the A33 5G, which is a bit disappointing, but we do have a fingerprint sensor built into the display, so we'll give that a try right now. It's very fast and responsive. Let's try that out one more time. There we go. So I'm certainly a big fan of having that feature, and I'm glad that it does work really well. I know that with other devices, especially in this kind of lower end mid-range segment, we typically have fingerprint sensors either on the back of the phone or on the power button, but I really am a big fan of this implementation because of how well it works and really just how seamless and well integrated it is into the actual phone itself. Now, in addition to having the fingerprint sensor, this phone also supports face unlock, so it is nice that we at least have multiple options for getting into the device. Now, on the back of the device, we have a quad camera setup featuring a 48 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that can capture images at up to 123 degrees, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. So it is really nice that we have portrait mode supported on both the rear and front cameras, so if you are a big fan of getting those nice blurred out backgrounds, then you can definitely do that here with this phone. So here's how things look on the camera app. This is with the main camera right now. Then from here, we can switch over to the ultra wide angle camera to fit a lot more content into the frame. I especially like using the ultra wide camera when I'm on vacation, for example, as it really gives me a nice way to really capture all of my surroundings. And of course, the standard camera works really well too. So there's really just different situations where all these various cameras come in handy. But what's nice about having such a variety of different cameras on the device is that you can really change up the type of images you're taking, whether that's videos or photos for that matter. Now, heading over to the More tab, we have a lot of different options. You can see we have Pro Mode, Pro Video, Single Take, Night Mode, Food Mode, Panorama, Macro, Super, Slow-Mo, Slow Motion, and Hyperlapse. And then if we go over here to Macro, you can get very close up and have things be in really good detail. So macro mode is awesome, definitely a big fan of that. We can then head over to portrait mode to get those nice blurred out backgrounds. We can also flip around to the front facing camera and do portrait selfies. And if you want to as well, you can switch over to a group selfie mode that does crop out a little bit so that you can fit multiple people in one selfie image. Now, if you don't want portrait mode for the front camera, you can also take standard selfies as well, which is certainly really nice. But I've been extremely impressed with the photo and video quality from the Samsung Galaxy A33 5G. Now, of course, the quality is nowhere near as good as what you'd find with a much more expensive smartphone like the S22 Ultra, for example, but the quality that we are getting here is plenty good, and especially if you just want to take photos to put on social media, for example, this will definitely get the job done. Maybe you're on vacation and you want to save all those various memories from the trip, then you definitely will be able to take different photos and videos with the phone that are certainly worth keeping. So I'm really happy with it. I don't think Samsung really could have made the camera quality much better for a phone in this mid-range segment, so great job to them on that. But otherwise, I'll let the quality mostly speak for itself. You can see here how great these photos look. And again, nice job Samsung for really giving us some nice quality cameras on the Galaxy A33 5G. But let's now take a look at some video samples from the phone. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with a 4K test video using the main rear camera on the Samsung Galaxy A33 5G. We have super quick autofocus in video mode, which is great. And here is a front-facing 4K test video from the Samsung Galaxy A33 5G. Definitely curious to know what you think of both the video and audio quality. And here is a 1080p test video using the Samsung Galaxy A33 5G. What's really cool about this as well is that if the phone is set to 1080p, you can actually switch between taking videos with the main camera and the ultra-wide camera, as you can see right here. Now, unfortunately, the ultra-wide does not support 4K video recording, but again, I do at least appreciate that we can easily switch from the main camera to the ultra-wide if we are in 1080p. In general, I'm really happy so far with the quality from all the various cameras on this device. Certainly a really nice mid-range option. And then back regular camera. Now, you might have noticed from those test videos, but the video resolution does max out at 4K with both the front and rear cameras on this device, which is another really great thing to see. In fact, I've seen from other companies like OnePlus with phones that are much more expensive than this phone, like the OnePlus 10 Pro, for example, you don't even get 4K video recording with the front-facing camera. So the fact that we have that here with the A33 5G is really impressive. Now, as far as RAM and processor go with this phone, this device is technically offered in 3 different options for RAM. It comes in 4, 6, and 8 gigabytes. However, this one is 6 gigs. And the processor is the Samsung Exynos 1280. Now, from my experience of using the phone, I've been really happy with the performance that we're getting from that processor. Now, it's certainly not the fastest out there ever, and compared to a higher-end phone like the S22 Ultra, this phone is nowhere near as fast, but for a device that is in the mid-range segment, I'm pretty happy with it overall. Now, this phone will work great for phone calls, text messages, social media, web browsing, video viewing, all of those things it'll be great for. Maybe if you want to do high-performance gaming with it, or you want to do video editing on the device, then I can see how you might run into some slowdowns there, but otherwise, for most people, this phone is plenty fast. Now, I did run a Geekbench 5 benchmark test with the phone, and here are the scores from that test. So I got a single-core score of 694, and a multi-core score of 1865. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone, and then compare your scores to these scores. Because who knows, maybe the phone you have right now is actually faster than this device. So you're definitely going to want to be aware of that before you actually end up getting this phone. Now, with the Galaxy A33 5G, we have a very massive 5,000 mAh internal battery, and this device does support 25 watt fast charging. So not only are we getting a really large battery here with the phone, that will give you at least a day, if not 2, of battery life, but you can also recharge that battery very quickly. So that's certainly a great situation, and I'm glad that we did get not only a big battery, but the ability to charge it pretty rapidly. Now, the software with the phone is Android 12, running Samsung's One UI 4.1. Now, if you've used a Samsung device within the last 3 or 4 years, then you should be very familiar with the software of this device. They do kind of evolve things as time goes on, but for the most part, it's a pretty familiar experience from most other Samsung phones. Another awesome thing too is that Samsung has pledged to provide all of their A series phones with at least 4 years of major software updates, so you'll be getting all the newer versions of Android for quite a while. And that's a lot better than pretty much what all other Android manufacturers are offering for their various mid-range and lower-end devices. So it's really cool that Samsung at this point is leading when it comes to software updates for Android phones. Now, of course, Apple provides a lot of updates as well. But again, when it comes to Android devices specifically, most manufacturers have a really bad track record with updates. In fact, companies like Motorola, for example, only actually give their phones 1 year of Android updates, at least for their mid-range devices. So you really can't even compare that to what they're offering versus what Samsung's offering. So hopefully other companies will actually hop on this trend in addition to Samsung, as it's really a good thing for consumers in general, and it gives you a lot more longevity out of your device. Now this device does support NFC, which is really good. So if you do like to make mobile contactless payments using tap and pay, then you can do that here with the phone. So if you are a user of Samsung Pay, that will be compatible here with the A33 5G. This device also supports IP67 dust and water resistance, which means that it can go underwater for up to 1 meter for up to 30 minutes. And this phone does have stereo speakers. So if you're going to be listening to music or playing a video, for example, you will be hearing audio coming out of both the main speaker on the bottom of the phone and also the earpiece. So that does really give you a nice premium audio listening experience. But taking a closer look at the hardware of the phone, I already talked quite a bit about the front panel here, but essentially we do have that larger bottom bezel and water drop notch, which is a bit unfortunate. However, the phone in general is a nice piece of hardware, and the device does feel of good quality. It certainly doesn't feel cheap at all. Now, despite that though, the device is made completely out of plastic besides the display being glass. So we do have a plastic band running around the sides of the phone, and the back panel is plastic as well. But again, the phone does feel of decent quality, and the sides of the phone actually almost feels like metal in a sense, but it is plastic, so keep that in mind. I do like this kind of frosted look on it. I think it looks really good, and I like how the material on the back of the device doesn't really pick up any fingerprints. So in general, I think Samsung did a great job picking out the various materials for the A33 5G. But taking a look at the left side of the phone, we have nothing. On the right side, we have volume up, volume down, and the power button. Up top here, we have the microphone and the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. On the bottom of the phone, we have the microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the speaker. And then on the back of the phone, we have the quad camera setup, the Samsung logo, and that's pretty much it. Now before I show you a variety of different things about the device, let's take a closer look and see what all comes included here in the box. So this is really an excellent device for content consumption. I know it's hard to tell through this video that you're watching, but the audio quality is really good from the phone. It really gets very loud, and if you just want to sit back, relax, and watch a video, this is a great device to make that happen. So definitely a big fan of that. And then of course, having this really good looking and large display gives you a very immersive content viewing experience. So all in all, I'm a big fan of using this device for content consumption. So in conclusion, I definitely think the Galaxy A33 5G is a solid budget alternative to getting one of Samsung's higher end smartphones, such as the Galaxy S22. This phone really brings us quite a bit of value, considering that it is a mid-range phone from Samsung, whether it's the really good camera quality, solid performance from the device, and just the general style of it and great display. I think this phone really is a good choice. So I'm really curious to know what you think about the device, but in general, I'm a big fan of it. But this concludes my review of the Samsung Galaxy A33 5G. This is Kevin here, and I will see you in the next one.